Year 2021. So you wanted to buy an American Pit Bull Terrier, but the world is a little different than my world back in the 1990s. There's three different type of people here on this picture. You have the critic, you have the talker, and you have the doer. Sadly for you, the critic line is huge because you have the internet and you have social media. Social media has a lot of different benefits, and I guess you coming to my channel and finding this information is actually a benefit, and me being able to connect with thousands and thousands of people around the world is actually a benefit. But one of those problems that we have in the world is that there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of fake news, a lot of pretenders, a lot of wannabes, a lot of fakes, and there's a lot of them. It's incredible. Just so you can understand, 7 years ago, everyone will have the word pitbull, will have the word American Pit Bull Terrier in all the videos on YouTube, or when they talk about pit bulls, and then you have somebody will come say, like, I'm a little smarter. The breed is not called pit bulls. The breed is actually called American Pit Bull Terriers. But then I came back and I said, these American Pit Bull Terriers, they're really worthless in the majority. They don't have the components of the real American Pit Bull Terrier. And the Pit Bulls is a genetic name that existed even before the American Pit Bull Terrier. So I created a page called realpitbull.com. I wanted to put the cookies on the lower shelf. So I called it Real Pitbull, the realpitbull.com, realpitbull.com. And whenever the word American Pit Bull Terrier came about in any one of my writings, I wrote it as Real American Pit Bull Terriers. Because real, I want to differentiate. When I say real, I don't have to say they are fakes. But if you understand that real is real, then there got to be the existence of the recognizing or the recognition of, or for you to recognize that there is something real is also you recognize that something is fake. That says a difference. And so when it came to people, they automatically, and this humanity always get in the way, they went over to all their videos and they put the word real in the front. And now you have deformations, bullies, and all kinds of crap that are not real pit bulls. Some of them are not real cheap pit bulls. They call themselves real American Pit Bull Terriers. And this is how important sometimes can be a little bit the influence that I have in the breed. And so what I'm doing this video here today, taking advantage that through these same problems of social media, you and I can connect. I want to educate you a little bit. Back in the 1990s, when I started in the dogs, we had talkers. And I'm talking about this group of pit bull people in the pit bulls, on the real pit bulls, on the dogs that actually matter. Dogs that matter, dogs that don't matter. The dogs that don't matter to the breed, they're bred by the gazillions. And the dogs that matter is just a very, very small group. Although some of the people that are in those groups, they think they are the world, but they're not. Let me explain to you, they are not. So I belong to that little group of people when I started in the dogs. But within those little group, there's a thin line of genetics that come from the best man to the best man to the best man to the best man. Notice that I didn't say the best dog to the best dog to the best dog. I actually say the best man to the best man. I believe that following the best dog to the best dog, it gives opportunity to a lot of fake men to say I'm following the best dog because it's linked to pedigree. So today, you are the first ones that are actually listening to this message when the best man connects with the best man. That is huge. I'm literally changing everything. This is a moment of power. It's a moment of amazingness is happening right now, where the best man to the best man to the best man to the best man. So we're going backwards. We say Chico Lopez, and we go back and we say, let's say Victor Acart, and we go back and we say Ernest Hollingsworth, David Tan, and we go back like that until we go back to the very beginning of the dogs. And everyone that is beneath us, anyone that didn't create anything special, that was just someone with some dogs and some story to tell, those don't count because they were not influential enough to become someone that matters in the dogs. And in between those, you have the filler dog, which is a different video. You can go back and watch my filler dog video. And for you, this matters because I'm going to teach you where you live today, and this video is going to serve you as a guide to understand where you can find the best American Pit Bull Terrier, some of the tips, and I want to give you some analysis on how you can find, or some samples on how can you find the best American Pit Bull Terrier. It is one of the biggest mistakes that people want to buy a dog by color, okay, by their color. It is important, it's only important when the right man is behind the color. Understand this. So when someone wants to buy a dog and says, well, let's say this is a turtle, okay? I started buying some turtles. I like them. They're very peaceful. And I like them as an animal which I don't have a connection with, because I already have a lot of connection with my dogs to a point that I feel like I'm surrounded by other humans. So I wanted to have some animal that is completely, don't talk, just feed it, walk around and look at it in the shape that somebody look at their dogs. Because my turtles, really, they're not smart. But my dogs are too smart. They are literally too smart. The connection, the language that we have developed between them and I is too strong. We have actually communication. So when you're buying turtles, buying a pink turtle, when the turtles are actually a different color or whatever, it attracts a little bit, to be honest with you. But then the smart part of myself kicks in and says, that'll be a freak show. That's not the real quality turtle. And what's the brand? Where is the guy that I need to get the turtles from? Who's the real person? And I go and I follow a process, and I can understand how they buy an American Pit Bull Terrier. Sometimes buying by color, buying from somebody's internet, it can be very entrapping into you buying the wrong animal from the wrong guy, or for you to buy one that is just okay and not from the better guy. So let me explain to you, the American Pit Bull Terrier is not like the turtle world, which is very nice and quiet. The American Pit Bull Terrier has a lot of noises from a lot of different people. But let me show you this picture right here where it shows critic, talker, and doer. I was blessed that I came in the dogs in the 90s. And some of the people that were of influence to me they came from meeting people back in the 1930s, 1940s, 1950s, 1970s. And some of the younger guys, I was 20 by the time I was 1993 or something like that, when I was talking to guys that were heavy in what it was a presence in the dogs back in those days. Those guys had some ideas and some opinions of guys from the 1970s and 80s. You understand? But for me to get the influence of those guys that were back in the 1950s, older people, it came later down the road. So the influence of these guys, it sounds very romantic. They knew so much. They talk about it so well that I made a decision to myself as I'm going to measure these guys by merits. Soon I realized these guys were good guys. They had an idea. They had a lot of passion about their conversation, about what they spoke. But I wanted to know who was the best guy. And then I started looking for the doers. These guys were the talkers, and I was looking for the doers, the ones with the highest merits. The critics didn't exist. To be honest with you, listen to what I'm telling you. In the 1990s, there was no believers. There was no critics, I'm sorry. There was no critics. And the critics came with the internet. The AOL accounts and emails going back and forth with ideas, people communicating on that way, in that manner. And bad ideas floating around and becoming popular. And then newcomers into the breed. And they thought that these newcomers were going to be the boom. But these newcomers became owners of the dogs, but they never became a boom. And so it happens that these people became breeders later, and they mentor other people themselves. And those people mentor other people. And here, 30 years later, we have a long line of people that are profiteers, especially on YouTube, making money. And they have guys on forums trying to flex muscles on what they breed, and all talk about a pedigree. But they all have one thing in common. The critics, which are the haters, and the talkers, they don't have merits, and they usually are talking about the doer. They're talking about the doer because they want to get something from the doer. They're usually talking from the doer because they already have a little piece of the doer, or they're hating on the doer because the doer doesn't want to do nothing with them. And most of the time when it comes to me, you're going to have the talkers and the critics talking bad about me, and maybe using my name as clout to create something because I didn't give them a piece of what I have. At the end of the day, if I would have given them a piece, they would have destroyed anyway. The American Pit Bull Terrier got always destroyed like that. There was always some flagship man, and that flagship dogman sold dogs to everybody, and the dogs with time, watered down, disappear, vanish. There was always a pedigree, but the dogs were never equal to the original dog. And it happens to me as well if I let my dogs go into that world. But what I wanted to do, I wanted to save my dogs for the better people. I wanted to save my dogs for the engineers, for the smart people, for them to enjoy a real American Pit Bull Terrier. So there's a benefit for them to own the very best of the best. Dogs that you can measure by the old ways, okay? You can measure them. And I say measure them, you own them. That doesn't mean that you are going to be doing anything of the old ways. You are going to have them as pets. They make the greatest pets in the world. They're usually not friendly with other dogs. Some of them do if you raise them properly from the very beginning and you have the right environment for them, and you don't have the elements that develop competition against one another. Because if you develop competition one another, my dog usually is going to be wanting to be the winner. You'll have to destroy him, his personality, or that dog or female, destroy her to totally humiliate her and destroy her mentally in order for this dog not to be competitive. The dogs are very competitive. So the dogs, they can have competition because they will want to win. And that's the beauty of it when they are among humans. Because if, let's say, they are among children and they love children, there's no competition. They are very submissive to humans. And so when they're submissive to humans, they teach the kids, they teach the people, they teach the person not to give up. They're running with the dog and the dog says, let's go a little bit more. The dog is motivating and encouraging. You have a bad day at work, you come from work and the dog comes to receive you and say, welcome, I want to be with you. You didn't have a bad day. You're going to be a better day tomorrow. Let's go. Let's do this. And the dogs motivate you to be a better man. They were, after all, the dogs from where the American people got the words top dog and underdog. The top dog was the dog on the top. He was winning. And the underdog was the underdog under the top dog that was losing in a battle. Because in those times, there used to be battle dogs. Not today. And so those words that motivate people, that the underdog, if he has a heart and don't quit and continue, never give up, that underdog can become the top dog. So there's a road between underdog. For those that are born underdogs like myself, I was born underdog, and I become a top dog. And you too, you can become a top dog. And if you're a top dog, that it's hard to stay on the top. So the dog will motivate you for you to stay on the top, keep you sharp between the ears. So where do you find these great dogs? And where do you find these elements? If there's so many critics, talkers, and doers, you'll have to find a man that has these elements, that has the elements of global grand champion, global champion. That's the elite. There are other things they're going to say they measure, but don't matter. The ones that matter are the ones that they cannot get, the ones that they cannot achieve. And the reason why they cannot achieve them is because it is extremely difficult to make a single winner, to make a single grand champion is extremely difficult. And to make a ram dog by yourself, very few men have accomplished that. And so very few group of men have accomplished that. Very few men and very few group of men have accomplished that. That's a group of men, it's small, 3 or 4 or 5 maximum, maybe 2, maybe 3. So when it comes to these dogs, the quality is defined by the brand. And now you're learning something else. You probably never heard the Pitbull's coming brand. You heard that people buy them by colors. You heard that people buy them by sizes. You need to buy them by brand. And the brand is the same like you buying a car. Let's suppose you're looking at a car. You say, I want a red car. And then I ask you, said, what is your budget? And you say, well, I don't have a budget. You don't have a budget, it doesn't matter. So you want to buy like a real low quality car, mediocre quality, or you want the best of the best? And then you tell me, I want the best of the best. And then, what color? You say red. And I bring you Toyota Camry, red color, beautiful, brand new. And you say, I didn't send you to buy that. I sent you to buy the best. I want La Ferrari. It has 8-cylinder or 12-cylinder. It has 500 to 1,000 horsepower. 1,000 horsepower, maybe 1,500 too, with a whole bunch of turbos, nitro, whatever they put in those cars today. And so there's a difference now. Now we're talking about brands. First we talk about colors, now we're talking about brands. And behind those brands there's legacy, there's reputation, there's market, there is performance, there are features in the car that make the difference. You got 2 cars side by side. One is a red Toyota Camry, a good car for a lot of people. And you have, that's a dog outside, and you have a LaFerrari. And the 2 cars, one maybe costs, I don't know, in dollars, maybe like $30,000, $25,000. And the other one costs what, maybe $500,000. And if you set it up, a special edition, maybe $2 million if you get the right one. And so there is a difference between the two. They have the same color. So when you're buying an American Pit Bull Terrier, you might have a red dog that came from Chambalulu down the road. Chambalulu Kennels, Super, Double XS, Triple XS, Maximum Supreme, God of all dogs. And that is the Chambalulu brand. But then you have the Chico Lopez brand. And you ask me the question, you can ask them. And you can compare my brand of red dogs with their red dogs. And then you can ask me why don't I have blue dogs. And you can ask me why don't I have black dogs. Very important for you to use your brains when you're buying a dog. You can buy a dog from whoever you want. I don't sell dogs to everybody. People got to go through interview. But I want to make sure that you are either a doctor, an engineer, somebody special in the world. Somebody is good home for my dog. My dog is going to be extremely happy in the house. I want my dog to have a good life. And I'm very passionate about my dogs. I've been in dogs for 30 years. I have a strong argument that if I give you 5 names of 5 of my dogs, you can challenge any man that are alive to give you same quality 5 dogs. And that person will not give you those. And I can give you grand champions on those 5 dogs. I can give you rum dogs on those 5 dogs. I can give you all the dogs to be global, all of them. And I can give you all of them to be best in show. I can give you some dogs of the year within those 5 dogs. And you can challenge any man, Kennel, Chambalulu, best of the best, evolution, revolution, quadrupolution, whoever you want to. Doesn't matter anywhere on the planet. That person cannot come close to this performance. And if you care the difference between a red, candy red Camry versus a candy red LaFerrari from Ferrari, and you understand that there is a difference, and you want nothing but the best, I am your man. I challenge you or anybody to do that. Now remember this. And this is not small talk. This is not like fine printing. This is something that I'm very passionate about. No breeders, no dog fighters of any time. I'm actually against that community. So, a lot of people come to this channel, a lot of people listen to this audio, and some of them are going to be breeders, some of them are going to be dog fighters. They get very excited. Oh my God, these dogs are so beautiful. They're so perfect. I want one. No, you are declined. I have been away. I know the worst people that I ever seen, ever met were of your kind. I'm looking for doctors, engineers, entrepreneurs that do not want to breed dogs. Only those. As far as prices, great pricing. A stronger venting. I'm going to be double checking, triple checking contracts that are very hard, and also video contracts. Okay? But if you want to get a dog and you're a good person, you're not going to mind that. My name is Chico Lopez. Pitbullexpert.com, ChicoLopez.com. You can find me. Look at my dogs. You can go to my Instagram account. It's verified. God bless you. And now you know that you're in the world of critics, talkers, and doers. And the doers are the ones that actually have the merits and have the great stuff. The talkers talk to the critics and they talk crap about the doers. But the doers don't mix with the talkers and the critics. And the critics are haters for most part. And it's a phenomenon that is recognized to all industries. All industries. You have guys that are doers that make greatness, and you have the haters that talk about them all the time. And they usually use their name to attract people to them. And believe me when I tell you, most of the fools go with them. The smart people still go to the doer. I am the doer. I am that person. I tell you this, and it sounds funny,